Cora, you've got to wake up and see this. Shouting and forceful shaking isn't the ideal way to be woken, but this is a special circumstance. Kaden and I had agreed to return to camp and get the rest of our friends. Everyone needs to see this. Get out of my tent, creep, Cora whispers groggily. Like a drunken boxer, she sleepily swats her hand through the air and smacks me across the face. Okay, ow, I mutter, trying to get a hold of her swaying hand. Could you not slap me across the face? Okay, where else would you like me to hit you? This was going to be more difficult than I thought. If it's not at least noon, I'll kill you. Hey, this is worth it. Trust me. Trust you? That's a funny one, Kale. You really should think about getting into a specific form of comedy. I'm telling you, this is important. I pin her arm to the ground and look her right in the eyes. There's a moment of silence before I come to realize I've crossed the line. To put things mildly, Cora is pissed. Get off me, she growls. I'll be out in 5, okay? Embarrassed, I let go of her arm and take a step back. She stares me down as I slowly remove myself from her tent. Words for the perfect apology elude me, so I slink out like the coward I am. After convincing Cora, I shift my focus to the next tent. Caden's already woken up Adora and is now moving on to her twin sister Talia. Other than Caden, no one seems particularly motivated. Adventures like these used to put a spring in our step, but it feels more like a chore now. Oh well, this will probably be our last hurrah all together, I think. With high school over and college on the horizon, this summer serves as a sort of limbo. So far, sure has been a drag. Hey, Josiah, you've gotta wake up, buddy, I demand. I kick the bottom of Josiah's mattress and scoff. Of course he brought an actual mattress, the dork. I'm half surprised he doesn't have a working sink and flushable toilet too. Compared to the rest of our tents though, his is immaculate. No, I think you're confusing what I have to do with what you want me to do, he says with an irritated yawn. Okay, fine, don't come. I pretend to leave his spotless tent. I guess the rest of us will just try to have to explain it when we get back. Oh man, I hope we don't forget anything. That did the trick. Okay, I'm coming. But only because I'm sure the rest of you will butcher the description of whatever this is. When Josiah finally finishes combing his hair, which no one else bothers to do, the entire group assembles around the now flameless fireplace. Caden is as excited as he was when he woke me up. Josiah looks more than a little annoyed. Cora, lit cigarette dangling from her mouth, looks as though she might fall asleep any minute, and the sisters Talia and Adora are leaning up against one another for balance. Clearly, everyone's gearing to go. Should I ask why you're staring at me? Josiah asks Talia. Probably not, Talia replies. But I'll tell you anyway. I like how frumpy your hair is in the morning, even after a good combing. Thanks, Josiah says. I think. Our group can be a little heavy on idiosyncrasies, Talia especially. It's charming to some, deeply annoying to most. So, we just going to stand around here like morons, or do you guys actually have something to show us? Josiah asks. Caden's basically running in place at this point, ready to burst with pent-up anticipation. This very well may be the greatest thing you ever lay your eyes on, he says in his usual hype man tone. I'm talking absolutely legendary. Isn't that right, Kale? Yeah, he isn't kidding this time. To be honest, I couldn't believe my eyes. Hey, what do you mean by this time? Caden says with a wink. Well, I've seen everything from the Sistine Chapel to the Aurora Borealis, Josiah says. So, please excuse me if I think you're both full of it. Full of what? Caden asks. He takes a menacing step toward Josiah. I'll give you a hint, Josiah replies. He refuses to back down. It's a 4-letter word, and it rhymes with idiot. Oh, here we go again, Cora mutters. Let's not do this, Adora says. She gently eases her way between the two guys, but her eyes are only on Caden. Perhaps we'll go on this adventure now? Sounds like fun to me. Everyone remains still for a few moments, save for the sounds of waking wildlife and Cora's lingering cigarette smoke. The stalemate between Josiah and Caden seems unbreakable, but Caden lets out a laugh and shrugs it off like it's nothing. Whatever, he says. He brushes past Josiah and heads toward the path entrance. Everyone follow me. Fun group we are, Cora mutters while putting out her cigarette. Caden, this little adventure, it's not going to get us into trouble, is it? Oh, come on, Caden said dismissively. What trouble have I ever? Caden? Cora raises her voice, and Caden halts on a dime. She's staring him down, and he looks like he's hit a brick wall. I'm serious. Caden reluctantly bows his head and gives Cora a slight nod. Cora's stare lingers for a moment, and I can tell she doesn't trust him. I know that look well. We'll be fine, Caden replies. I pinky swear. He holds out his pinky, waiting for Cora to reciprocate the gesture. What are we, 12? She asks. Let's just go. Caden shrugs before leading the way into the forest. The rest of my friends share one last look around the campsite before making their way down the path. Josiah stays behind for a moment with an annoyed smile on his face. Can you believe that? He mumbles. Prick. How long have we been friends and he still treats me like trash? Well, you started it, I point out. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's about time I end it, though. You know, it's nice what you're trying to do. Keep us together like this. I don't know. Maybe it's time to let it go. His words dig deeper than they should have. Still, I try to lighten the mood. Come on, it's not that bad. It's every day, all the time. Face it, Kale, it's that bad. And you know it, too. Maybe I did, and I just didn't want to accept it. Josiah waits for me to agree with him, but I stay quiet. Even if it was true, no way am I giving that truth a voice. Seriously, is this what friends sound like to you? He asks. I don't know. It's all I've ever known, I say. Yeah, me too, I guess. Defeated, Josiah sighs and leaves in order to join the others. I take one last look around the camp and recall the evening we had together. It's almost like a dream now. The 6 of us, trying our best to scare one another before bursting into laughter at how ridiculous we would have looked to strangers. Maybe that's why I can't let it go. The world is full of too many strangers. Hey, Kale! I hear Cora shout my name from somewhere within the forest. Caden says that if you're trying to get lost again, you're off to a great start. Hurry up! I nod and slowly turn away from the memories. I feel a slight chill go up my spine. I'm not sure if it's the cool morning breeze or the thought of seeing the top of that hill again. Something tells me that not even Josiah will be able to explain it. And if Josiah is at a loss for words, what hope do the rest of us have?
And here goes the Inseparable Six on another wondrous adventure that shall be passed down for generations to come, Talia shouted. The trek through the woods was considerably shorter without all the disorienting detours, but the climb up this rocky hill is just as treacherous as it was the first time. We take our time to avoid unnecessary injury. My sore knee is casualty enough for one hike. That name is cringier now than it's ever been, Josiah mumbles. I always thought it had a nice ring to it, Caden says. He gives Adora a boost on a particularly tricky foothold. It's like our claim to fame. Or infamy, Cora quips, depending on who you ask. Saying you've outgrown the mighty Inseparable Six? Talia chimes. She's trying to keep things light, but the tinge of sadness is unmistakable. Is that it, Cora? Let's just say if I weren't already in the damn posse, I wouldn't be signing up for the fan club either. You know, you can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. Yeah, well, what else is new? That's all anyone said for a little while. Silences didn't used to be this awkward. Thankfully, Josiah is often ignorant to such social dead zones. If I had known that we'd be mountain climbing, I would have worn my hiking boots, he complains as we trudge up the rocky hill. It's unnaturally cold for this time of year, and there's far more wind than there had been before. The sky seems darker too. The top of the hill looms above our heads. You would bring mountain climbing boots on a camping trip, Talia teases, nudging him with her shoulder. Josiah blushes, but tries his best to hide it. Nerd. Better to be safe than sorry, and clearly I was smart to bring them, he says. Yeah, but not nearly smart enough to use them, Caden points out. And yet, I still managed to reach the summit the fastest, Josiah howls. He quickens his pace and scurries his way to the top, flinging loose rocks down toward us. He turns around and looks down at us with a big, triumphant smile and raises his arms into the air. You tell me, he yells. Josiah spins around, and finally, his eyes meet our destination. His arms slowly lower, as does his voice. You tell me how that's possible. What, you forget how to brag or something? Talia jokes.
She's almost at the top too, along with the rest of us. Josiah doesn't respond. Josiah? The hills and the rocks and the weeds give way to an open, barren plain. The air seems non-existent, like we're standing in a vacuum of space and time. Sounds of the forest, of life itself, are gone. No birds singing, no trees swaying, no people breathing. The sky is impenetrably dark and ominous. There's nothing on top of this hill, other than the structure before us. Towering over us with its shadowy spires and twisting walls is a dark fortress. Its murky stone walls stretch on seemingly without end, and its thick, piercing steeples stab into the black sky. There are no windows, and yet the castle emits a weird, light glow, as if beckoning to be found. Its walls give off the illusion of movement, as if spiraling and churning with unrest. This citadel looks abandoned, and yet untouched, forgotten even by time. It's like something from a terrible dream. Holy shit, Cora whispers. Is this the part where I wake up? Her words are quickly consumed by the empty plain. It already feels like an eternity has passed since arriving, and an equal length of time before someone finally speaks again. No, I don't think dreams could pull this one off, Caden replies. Is it just me, or are there clouds only over the creepy castle? Talia asked. As impossible as it sounded, the menacing sky seems drawn to the castle, like it's a magnet for darkness. No, that doesn't make any sense, Josiah replies. There's a half-hazy tone to everyone's words, like we're only half aware of what they're actually saying. Maybe the castle fell from the sky? Talia rambles. Like Hal's moving castle? No, that makes even less sense, Josiah mutters. Well, sense or no sense, I'm going in, Adora states. And that's exactly what she tries to do. While the rest of us remains entranced by the castle, Adora makes a beeline to the front door. Adora, get back here! Talia yells out in horror. She chases after her sister and catches her by the shoulders. I'm still too dumbfounded to move. What's the matter? Adora asks. We don't know if it's safe. You can't just walk off like that, Talia explains. Sorry, I must have forgotten my leash at home. Adora's plain way of speaking has a habit of hitting hard. Talia winces and tries to reframe her anxieties. Adora, that's not what do you think, Cora? Adora asks, ignoring her sister. Think it's safe? Can't exactly say it looks welcoming, Cora replies, biting her lip. Talia takes a step back from her sister and tries to hide her face from the rest of us. I can see her lips twitching, her brow furrowed. I don't think anyone is here anymore, if there ever was anyone here at all, Adora reasons. Well, someone had to build the damn thing, Josiah states with a hint of exasperation in his voice. It can't have always just been here, right? Only one way to find out, Caden responds. He shakes free from the paralysis inflicting us all and takes off in a sprint. Caden, what the hell do you think you're doing? I call after him. Unlike Adora, Caden doesn't have an older sibling, so his well-being falls on me. It's a hell of a responsibility. And I knew from the moment I laid my eyes on that castle that Cade would want to do some exploring. I also knew that it was going to be my job to stop him. I know what I'm doing, he replies. I'm going on the greatest adventure I've ever been on. He stops and turns to face me. In all the years I've known Caden, and for all the times he's been excited, whether it be sneaking out in the middle of the night or moments before the drop on a roller coaster, never before have I seen his eyes sparkle like they do now. Want to join? Another long stretch of silence passes. Caden is 3 steps away from me, but with the dark castle at his back, he seems a lot further away. I'm afraid that if I step forward, that castle might engulf me whole. It looms so large, as if to intimidate me, mocking my cowardice. I'll join, Adora says. Talia begins to protest, but Adora sidesteps her sister. She walks up to Caden and stands by his side. They exchange a knowing glance and smile. She follows him into danger like it's second nature, without reservation. I admire that bond, that trust, without really understanding it. What I do know is that one way or another, we're all going in. So how about it, Kale? Caden asks.
What's the worst that could happen? If karma is real, that's probably the worst question to ask. Maybe I'm overreacting, and there really is nothing to worry about. The place looks vacant, and even if it isn't, I doubt anyone inside would be cruel enough to harm curious teenagers. And then again, worse things happen all the time. Famous last words, Caden? I ask. No, not this time, he replies wearily, his usual response to my largely repeated question. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Oh, I'm sure it will. I walk toward him with a cautious weight to my steps. I must be out of my mind. But you're better off if I'm there when it happens. Caden nearly jumps for joy. Someone else is a little less enthused by my decision. Talk about blind leading the blind, Cora mutters. She puts out a cigarette I hadn't even seen her light and follows after us. If you're going, I'm going. Think you can keep up? I ask. She pushes me and smiles. Hilarious. And what about you two? Caden snaps, tapping his foot. Getting a little impatient over here. Come on, Josiah, Talia says. She grabs his arms and practically drags him the rest of the way. Couldn't hurt to do a little exploring. Oh, I strongly disagree, Josiah scoffs. That castle looks like one big Darwin Award waiting to happen. I'd rather not end up on the news as another dumb teenager. Josiah, Talia says in a serious tone. His back straightens and his eyes go wide. Do it for me? Suddenly, Josiah doesn't seem so resistant to the idea. He shrugs his shoulders and tries to play it off like a natural, self-imposed change of heart. I suppose it couldn't hurt to do a little poking around, he says. Besides, I'd better come along to make sure you guys don't bust anything valuable. Talia lets out an excited squeal and, still holding Josiah's hand, skips her way over to the rest of us. Together, we stand to face the mighty castle, soaking in the view one last time, and together, we all step forward in unison. Here we go.